Okay guys, it's really late at night and really tired, but I want to at least do a few of these problems with you. I'm not going to do them all, sorry. Not right now anyways. What are my goals? Get you familiar with the quadratic formula, make sure you understand that it actually works, and also remind you of something that makes it tricky with your teachers right now, because they're going to get a little tricky on you. We'll talk about it as we do it. Okay? But anyways, take this problem right here, for example. All right, now what we're going to do is, first of all, notice how it's already in standard form equal to 0. It's got to be in order like that, equal to 0. That's the only way you can do the quadratic formula. And here it is. You're going to do the negative of the b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. And by the way, I'm going to assume you have a calculator because that's why I'm showing my calculator work. And I'm going to walk you through it. But anyways, let's get started here. So, I know that my a is 4. Whatever's with the squared term is your a. I notice right here my b is 11. I notice right here my c is negative 20. Very important you keep track of your signs, guys. You miss one sign, you're going to get messed up. So here we go. I'm going to do the negative of the b being 11, plus or minus square root. I'm going to do the b squared minus 4 times a times c, all over 2 times a. All right, now 2 times 4 is 8. Negative of 11 is negative 11, plus or minus. Now, the first thing I always do on my calculator, guys, I do everything inside the square root. Do the square root separate. There's a reason you'll find out in this video. Okay, so when I do 11 squared minus 4 times the a times the c, I get 441. Again, what I did was this right in here, right? That's what I did. And I took the square root of that answer, and I know it's 21. So what I did was I did all of that radical. I got 441. I have to take the square root of that. So I have negative 11 plus or minus 21 over 8. So now I'm ready to get my two solutions. I'm going to do negative 11 plus 21, divide by 8. I'm going to do negative 11 minus 21 and divide by 8. All right, so the plus and minus means you literally do the plus and then you do the minus. You have two answers. Now, going back to here, that's 10 over 8. And if you reduce that, that's 5/4. And that's the way your teacher's going to want it. If you divide that, though, you get 1.25. Again, I'm going to tell you why I went ahead and divided it with my calculator, because I'm going to check my answer. Now, doing this right here, I'm going to get negative 32 divided by 8 is negative 4. So those are my two solutions, guys. 1.25, better known as 5/4, and negative 4. Now, you're doing this online, so how do you know for sure whether you did all this awesome work correctly? You're going to go to Desmos. Okay? And as you can see, here's my quadratic on the left and right sides. The vertex is way down there somewhere. But notice how it crosses x at negative 4 here, and it crosses x at 1.25 there. And that, again, matches exactly what we got here. So, guys, that's basically the quadratic formula. Now, let's do a problem where I think you're going to see how they get tricky on you, because they don't always work out so nice like this one. Take a look at this number 6 right here. I know my a is 4. Oh, it's not equal to 0 yet. We're getting ahead of ourselves. So first thing we're going to do is add 8x to both sides. All right. So I have 4x squared plus 8x minus 1 equal to 0. Now I know my a is 4. My b is positive 8. See, once I did the plus 8x both sides, I got the b to be a positive 8. See, if I left that as a negative 8 like it is over here, I would have been messed up. My c is negative 1. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to do the negative of the b. I'm going to do plus or minus square root. I'm going to do the b squared minus the 4 times the a times the c. Oh, that's all under the square root now. All divided by 2 times the a. Now, 2 times 4, of course, is 8. So I have negative 8 over 8 plus or minus the square root. Now I'm going to do all of this square root stuff on my calculator. I'm going to do the b squared minus the 4ac. Notice I messed up. That should be positive 8, but good thing I'm squaring it because it comes positive. But I do get 80. And if I take the square root of 80, guys, I get 8.944. Now, here's where your teacher is going to get tricky on you. Okay? We got 80, right? Your teacher is going to want you basically to leave it as this answer as a radical. Since square root of 80 is not a nice integer number. Like if it was 81, we'd get 9, we'd get some nice numbers, right? But with 80, we're not going to get nice numbers. We're going to get decimal numbers, okay? So your teacher's going to expect you to leave it as a radical. Now, the trick is you have to simplify that radical. So let's take the square root of 80. Let's break it down. 8 times 10. Yes, you are going to have to do this. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 5 is 10. 4 is 2 times 2. So let's list them out. I got a 2. Got 2 more 2's there. Got another 2 there. And a 5. Remember, these are all like baby square roots, right? But remember, any two of them make a regular number. So in this case, these square root 2's come together. They make regular 2's. So, and we have that extra square root of 5 that doesn't match anything, right? So guys, here is actually the answer your teacher is going to want. Negative 8 plus or minus 2 times 2 is 4 square root of 5 over 8. Only thing wrong with that answer, it can be simplified. If you look at all the numbers, I can divide by 4, right? So, if I divide by 4, I get negative 2 plus or minus square root 5 over 2. I divided that by 2, or sorry, 4, that gave me 2. Divide that by 4, that gave me 2. Divide that by 4, became 1. And so, there's your answer. Your teacher, though, may want you to separate it out. So we'll have negative 2 plus square root 5 over 2 is one answer. And negative 2 minus square root 5 over 2 as my second answer. Man, that's a lot of work, isn't it? But guys, the only way you get good at this, you got to practice this. Okay? Now, the thing I want to show you real quick is I went ahead and used the square root of 80. And these are the actual decimal answers, which are exactly the same as these two. If you put these two in your calculator, guys, you will get, okay, 0.118 and negative 2.118. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up, guys, I want to make sure you understand, this is what the square root actually does. See how I got a root here at negative 2.188? And over here on the right side, it's crossing the x at 0.118. That's what the quadratic formula does. It gives you your x-intercepts, okay? It gives you what we call the roots, or the zeros of the problem. Let's do one more. All right. So, again, let's go ahead and start by minusing 14x both sides. So 2x squared minus 14x plus 23 equals 0. So, my a is 2, right? My b is negative 14. My c is 23. I'll make sure I have my calculator work done. Looks like I did right there. Okay, let's see what we got here. So I'm going to do the negative of the b. B was negative 14 now. plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. All right, 2 times 2 is 4, and of course, whoa, wait a minute, what's negative of negative? Positive, right? So we have a positive 14 over 4 plus or minus square root. Now, what is all of this in our calculator, guys? If I do b squared minus 4ac, I get 12. Now, I went ahead and calculated here to make sure that these answers match Desmos. Again, right here, okay? So you may want to pause the video here or the video here just to see my calculator work you could study from. But this is the answer your teacher's going to want. We got 12 or the square root of 12 there, right? We got to simplify the square root of 12. 12 is, for example, 2 times 6. 6 is 2 times 3. So we have a 2, right? And a square root 3. Those two square root 2's, though, make a regular 2. So what we have here is 14 plus or minus 2 square root of 3 over 4. If you look at all the numbers, guys, I can divide by 2. So that divided by 2 is 7. Plus or minus, that divided by 2 is just 1. Square root 3, that divided by 2 is 2. So there's basically my two answers. What are my two answers? 7 plus square root 3 over 2. 7 minus square root 3 over 2. If you actually calculate that in your calculator, okay, you will get 2.633 and 4.366. And as you can see, they do match up with the Desmos graph, our x-intercepts. So guys, some of you may be disappointed I didn't do more than 3 problems. But let me just remind you a few things. You got to make sure, like in this one right here, you get it equal to 0. You make sure it's in order called standard form. X squared, x, and then the number. From there, you do your a, b, and c's in the quadratic formula. If you do get a square root, like we got here, or like we got here with the square root of 80, right here, right? You will have to simplify it. That's what the teacher is going to expect most likely. So again, this is what you have to work out with your teacher, guys. But that basically is how you do the quadratic formula, and hopefully you also understand what it does. You know, it basically always gives you 2 answers with very few exceptions. Those are your x-intercepts, okay? See you around.